Caitlin, and today we are working on making our foam cushions for all of our couches and our dinette seats in our Toyota Dolphin RV. We are using 4-inch thick high-density foam we got off Amazon. I can leave the link to the description of that foam down below. So first we made all of our measurements, and now we're going through and cutting the foam with this electric bread knife. It works pretty well. We just draw a line with Sharpie where we want our cut to be, and we try our best to make a straight cut. And then we will wrap this foam in batting so it will hide a lot of the imperfections if it's not completely straight. We are using painter's cloth to cover this foam as our material because it's durable and washable. Next, I measured and cut the batting. We use the batting because it creates a soft, plump cushion and fills in any of the gaps between the foam and the cushion cover. It also helps to round the edges to make a professional looking cushion. I also made sure there was at least an extra inch of batting around all of the edges to help with this next step. Next, I secured the two edges of batting with a general stapler. And when you do this, you want to make sure the batting is snug, so make sure you pull it pretty tight, and then you want to get that staple as close as possible to the foam, but make sure you don't go into the foam. This is what it looks like with all of the staples in. I put a staple in about every ½ inch or so, and it's okay if your staples aren't in a perfect line like mine. You just want to make sure that the batting is securely held together. Next, I trimmed any excess batting off, leaving only a little bit beyond the staples. This is how it looks when you're done attaching the batting. So this will be the bottom where all of the staples are. So I'll flip it upside down like that. And this will be the top. Now I am doing the exact same process as I did for the previous cushion. This long cushion is going to be our backrest for one of our couches. I am trimming down the batting because when it's too long, it's a little difficult to get the stapler in there. So again, I'm cutting it down so that there's about 1 inch of an overhang of the batting beyond the foam. After I covered the foam with the batting, my mom helped sew this drop cloth into a removable washable cover for the foam. And instead of using velcro or a zipper, she used a envelope style fold with these ties so we can easily remove it to wash it.
And the box corners fit perfectly.
This is a cushion for one of our backrests in the dinette area, and we decided to not do any ties here. We just did the envelope style because it wasn't really necessary. It stays closed pretty well. Yeah, so this one was the ties. This one was the ties as well. And then the long backrest for the couch. We just did
one long tube with the opening to the side at the end. And it doesn't need ties because this is going to go on the bottom of the bench and it's not going anywhere. It's fine.
Next, my mom will provide detailed directions on how to sew these covers. So if you're interested, make sure you watch the rest of the video.
The foam is 4 inches thick. So lengthwise, my cushion is going to be 21 7/8 across the top. So I need 21 7/8, but I'll be folding the fabric. So I'll have, it'll be double. So for one side, you only need 2 inches added in, and for the other side, 2 inches added in, because it'll be doubled. So you'll get 2 inches from the front and 2 inches from the back. That'll be a 4-inch side for the 4-inch foam. So add 2 for one side, 2 for the other side, and then I added 2 inches for a seam allowance, 1 inch for each side. So altogether, it's 27 7/8 that I need for the length. For the side, it's a little bit different. I need 10 5/8 for the length of my front. I need 10 5/8 for the back. I need a 5-inch added to it because I'm doing a fold over back entrance for the foam. And I need 4 inches for the top side of the foam and 4 inches for the bottom side of the foam. So the 5 4 4 would work to whatever front and back measurements you have. All totaled up, I'm going to need 34 1/4 from top to bottom. Okay, so let me cut out my fabric. All right, so I have my piece cut out. It is 27 7/8 by 34 1/4. The drop cloth has a seam here on the bottom. I like that one. I'm going to leave that. I don't need to seam the sides because they're going to get folded up and put together and sewn. So I don't need to finish those off. But the top one, you do need to fold under a 1/2 inch or inch, whatever you want to do. You do need to fold that under because it would fray. And so that's my next step. Lay your fabric right side up because we're going to fold it with the right side on the inside. And I like the seam of the drop cloth. It's a nice seam. So I'm going to fold that one down first. And then my seam will go on top. And I want a big overlap because that's the design that I've created. So what you want to do for measurement wise is my front is 10 5/8. I'm going to add 4 to that. 2 inches for the top because 2 plus the other side, 2 is the 4-inch thickness of the foam. And then at the bottom, another 2 inches, 2 inches here, 2 inches from the other side. That'll be the 4 inches of the bottom of the foam. So it's the distance of your height of your cushion plus a total of 4 inches, 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom. So I want it 14 5/8 when I fold. So I can just kind of look here with my guides and fold my little flap down until I get it at 14 5/8 to the measurement I want. And if you're using drop cloth, it's really forgivable. It does a lot of stretching, but you definitely don't want to give your drop cloth, make it any larger than your foam because then it will be sloppy and not fit tight. You actually want to make it to the size of your foam. Even if you're covering your foam with batting, which we do too, you still want to keep the size of your fabric to the size of the foam. Okay, so I'm happy that my fold is the size I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the sides and sew the sides. Actually, what I do is I just sew one side first. Just it doesn't really meet up real here, so I'm going to be real careful. I'm going to make sure I catch in all the layers. I'm going to sew one side first, then I'm going to very carefully measure from my seam over to the other side, and I'll mark with chalk where I want the other seam to be so that it is exactly the length of my cushion. When I come to my fold over, I like to go back and forth just a little bit to give it some strength. And I can feel through, this is my other seam that's hiding inside. I'm going to go back and forth over that for more strength. All right, so I want my final length of the cushion to be 21 7/8, but I'm going to add 4 inches to that, like I did on the height, 2 inches for one side, 2 inches for the other side to go around the foam. So over on this side, I'm lining up my stitching with my 0 line, not the edge of the fabric, but the actual stitching. And then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and mark where 25 7/8 is. And that's where I need my other seam.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. There is extra fabric. I probably give myself too many inches for seam allowances, but I always want it bigger than smaller. So I'll sew here and I will cut off a little bit of extra. This is the extra past the seam. I did not go back and forth on any of my seams that I made because all 4 corners are going to be box cornered, so that's going to get sewn over. So I didn't need to backtrack on those to tack those down. All right, to do the box corners, lay it out flat, pick a corner, and open the corner out into a triangle. This is a lot harder than it seems. You want your seam coming straight down at you, not crooked. You can look on the back, make sure everything's flat, that you have a triangle. Since my cushions are 4-inch thick, you need to have that. And I'm measuring down 2 inches. It'll end up working out. So whatever, if your cushion's 3 inches, you're going to measure down 1.5 inches. If your cushion's only 1 inch thick, you want to measure 1/2 inch down. So my 2-inch mark, and I'm actually doing a little less than 2 because I really don't want the corners bigger than my foam at all. I'd rather have a smaller corner than a bigger corner. And then you're going to sew right through all the layers. Just sew right on your mark. So when you start, you're going to want to go back and forth a few times to really get the edges of these corners secure on both sides. Go off your material a little bit so it's really secure. So here's the box corner. There's my stitching. And then you want to cut off some extra material so it's not so thick within inside your corner. And this is what it looks like. So that's what it'll look like a corner on your cushion. Okay, then you just do all the corners. Open up each corner into a triangle. Make sure it's all the way flat. measure 2 inches down if your foam is 4 inches. Sew through everything and then cut off the extra fabric. Okay, so all the corners are box sewn. So now it's still inside out, so you just turn it right side out. So I'm just reaching into each corner, making it right side out. So what you have is a pocket to put your foam in. Then this will cover part of the foam. This will go over it. Finished product to come. 4 pieces of twill tape. Each are about 10 inches long. Okay, 2 pieces go under this front flap, and I'll sew it right on the seam line, back and forth a few times. And then the other 2 that these get tied to go on the pocket, the inside pocket. Just kind of clip them where I'm going to sew them. Again, I'll measure in a minute to see if they're evenly spaced, but there should be.
And the last step is putting the cover on. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.